I love that song. Man, I'm in a good mood today. Ever since I decided to not review Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3, it feels like everything's just been falling into place for me. I'm more relaxed. My stress level is way down. I'm getting a lot more sleep. I really feel like this was the best decision I could have made for myself. Sure, the extra money would have been nice, but I don't need the ad revenue that bad. I mean, it's not like there's some big emergency I need to pay for. Anyway, time I go through all this mail. This has been piling up for a while. What have we got here? Electric bill? Phone bill? Cable bill? Credit card bill? Car insurance bill? Medical insurance bill, past due. Rent overdue, first notice. Rent overdue, second notice. This is your final warning. Notice of eviction. Men are coming to break your legs if we don't get our money. So, part 3. Okay, first of all, a bunch of people have informed me that the reason why the heroes can't simply travel back in time to save Oliver is because Universe 38 was destroyed across all time periods, past, present, and future, so there's no past in Universe 38 to go back to. But I don't buy that at all, because if the past of Universe 38 was destroyed, then there would have been no Earth 38 for Part 1 of this crossover to take place in, not to mention the last 5 seasons of Supergirl. But obviously those things did take place with the universe intact, so the past of Earth 38 still exists, so that whole argument is bullshit. And then there's the one about how they can't time travel because they explained in a Flash episode that antimatter is affecting the time stream, making time travel impossible or something. And maybe they did say that, but you know what? They say a lot of things. They've done big storylines about how Barry's time traveling changed things in the present because changing the past causes a ripple effect or whatever, no matter how small the changes he made in the past might be. So the timeline is always different afterward. They've said this. The Legends of Tomorrow even lectured Barry on this at one point, but they changed the past constantly in much bigger ways than Barry has without affecting the timeline whatsoever. I repeat, the rules of time travel in the Arrowverse are bullshit. The writers have been constantly changing them for years now, so after multiple seasons across multiple shows of the writers breaking the rules of time travel they themselves laid out, throwing the rules out the damn window whenever it suits them, all of a sudden, now we're supposed to believe those rules actually mean something? Give me a break. Oh, but antimatter! Antimatter is screwing up everything! Bitch, please. Antimatter was supposed to interfere with John Constantine's magic in Part 2 of this crossover, but that didn't stop him from doing a spell to locate a Lazarus pit on a parallel Earth. Use your brains, people. There is no set way that time travel works on these shows. It's 100% arbitrary. Whatever the rules happen to be this week, they only apply when the writers want them to. Continuity, consistency, and common sense be damned. So if they explained in an episode of The Flash how antimatter stops them from time traveling, I'm sorry, but that means exactly jack shit. Speaking of The Flash, episode 3 of this crossover was the Flash episode, and after the Supergirl and Batwoman installments shit the bed so hard they shat out all their internal organs, it's not out of the realm of possibility that The Flash could be a step up. Yeah, that's how low the bar is now. And speaking of low bars, Part 3 begins with the Huntress from the Birds of Prey show. Oh my god, you cannot be serious. This was the moment when they started reaching too damn hard with the fan service. With Burt Ward, Kevin Conroy, Brandon Routh Superman, and Clark and Lois from Smallville, I got it, that made sense. But who the hell was asking for this one? Did you people actually watch the Birds of Prey show? Because I did, and I can say with absolute certainty, ain't no one needs to see that shit again. Thankfully, we only see the Birds of Prey Earth for about a minute before the entire world is wiped out of existence. Best thing that could have happened to it. If only the antimatter wave could wipe the memories of that show out of existence. Cut to the Wave Rider, where the Paragon detector has broken down, and Kate is throwing shade at Ray while he's actually being useful and trying to fix it. Because Kate Kane is an asshole. But he needs a little help, so the rest of Team Flash teleport in and Cisco gives him a hand. And then 10 seconds later, it's fixed. I guess Ray, being a white guy, was just not up to the task of fixing the machine he himself built, and we needed a person of color to get the job done. Though it was a male person of color, shockingly enough, so the identity politics may have been toned down just a tad in this one. So the Paragon detector identifies the final Paragons as Jean Jones, the Paragon of Honor. Okay. Barry is the Paragon of Love. And the Paragon of Humanity is Ryan Choi. If they're introducing a new Atom, that probably doesn't mean good things for Ray. Ray may be a bit of a doofus, but he is one of the only likable characters in this crossover, so that's a bit of a shame. But we do get reinforcements in the likable character department when Dig shows up. He's upset about Oliver, but Sarah explains to him how they're working on a plan to get Oliver back from purgatory, and also Dig's wife has disappeared and they don't know where she is. The Monitor thinks that she could be with the Anti-Monitor. Dig is pissed off and wants his wife back, but the Monitor says that he can't rewrite what has already been written. Really? Because in the previous episode, you went back in time and stopped the Book of Destiny from being destroyed. That was something that had already been written, and you had no problem rewriting that. Meanwhile, Cisco has found the source of the antimatter wave with his tablet. Just go with it. And out of every possible location in the entire multiverse, it's in Central City on Earth 1. Wow, what are the odds? Cisco wants to get over there immediately, but the Monitor confronts him and says that he has a role to play, and that Vibe must live again. So he flips the Deus Ex Machina switch and restores Cisco's powers, just like that. Well, that's pretty weird. Because Cisco losing his powers had also already been written. But once again, the Monitor rewrote that no problem. So, if he can do that, why the hell can't he get Lila back or bring Oliver back to life? Because, just like the rules of time travel, the Monitor's bullshit only applies when the plot needs it to. Meanwhile, this crossover is sadly not done shoving Iris down our throats, so she has been given the mission of finding Ryan Choi. Or, more like Ray and Elongated Man are doing that, and she just sort of invited herself along. Her and Barry have a scene that I couldn't possibly care less about, so let's just cut to some underground tunnels in Central City where Barry, Vibe, and Killer Frost portal in and find those glyphs on the cave wall. Then the new Harrison Wells shows up. I guess we're calling him Pariah now. He says he came here to expose someone as a false god, but he was being manipulated so the Anti-Monitor could gain a foothold in this universe. He can't remember how to get inside for some reason, so Cisco has to vibe the memories out of him. No explanation for why Cisco can't just teleport them in there, but he has an annoying habit of forgetting that he can do that whenever it might be useful. Back on the Wave Rider, Kara wants Lex to tell her how to use the Book of Destiny to bring her universe back, but he thinks the very idea is preposterous, so Kate strong-arms him until he talks. Kate overpowering men bigger than she is never not gonna look awkward as hell, but he explains that the book requires incredible willpower, and even if it worked, trying to use it on that scale could drive Kara mad. But Kara wants what she wants, and since she has the emotional maturity of a toddler, she's gonna do it anyway. Kate thinks this is a bad idea because of the ripple effect it could cause, and it's a risk they really can't afford to take right now, but Kara doesn't give a shit. So that means that all of a sudden, Kate is the most rational person in this situation. Jesus Christ, we really are through the looking glass this time, aren't we? Cut to Earth 666. How hilariously on the nose. John Constantine, Dig, and Mia have to get Oliver's soul out of purgatory somehow, but since John has lost his mojo, he's calling in a favor from Lucifer. Cool, I guess. I don't watch that show, but fans of it will probably get a kick out of this. Lucy flirts with Mia, because of course he does. Then he gives them a magic tarot card that takes them to purgatory, which looks exactly like Lian Yu because they didn't have the money for any new set pieces. Cut to Team Flash as they get past the glyphs and enter the room that Pariah says is the nexus between the antimatter universe and our own. Okay. They find this big treadmill that has a big red blur on it, so Barry speeds up, and he can't get through because there's a force field surrounding it, but he sees that the blur is actually John Wesley Shipp's Flash from the 1990s Flash series. And this is fan service that works. I have a fondness for the 90s Flash series. I mean, it was goofy as hell, but it was fun. And lest we forget, that was the show where the producers very quickly realized that Barry had better chemistry with another woman than he had with Iris, so instead of shoving Iris up the viewers' asses for the rest of the series whether they liked it or not, they just got rid of her. Man, that show was ahead of its time in a lot of ways. Pariah explains that the Anti-Monitor abducted Earth-90 Flash and used his speed to power the antimatter cannon. And the original test destroyed Earth-2, so Harry and Jesse Quick are long gone. Well, that kind of sucks. So Cisco vibes Earth-90 Flash off the treadmill, which turns out to be a bad thing, because the antimatter cannon that's destroying the multiverse had a failsafe built into it, wherein if its power source was ever turned off, it would then destroy the multiverse even faster. And yeah, that makes perfect sense. You know how your phone always gets better reception after the battery dies? Same thing. Cut to Ivy Town on Earth 1, where Ray, Elongated Man, and Iris find Ryan Choi. Turns out he's a huge Ray Palmer fan, so this is a pretty big moment for him. And for Ray, too, because this might be the first time in this crossover that anyone has given him something that actually resembles respect. I do hope Ray enjoyed that, as it probably won't last. They tell Ryan they need his help to save every reality in existence, but he's like, nah, I'm no hero. If the universe is ending, instead of trying to stop it from ending, I'm just gonna go hang out with my family. Very few characters in this crossover have their priorities in order, so this twist is not that surprising. Cut back to Lois on the ship, because God forbid the non-superhero women characters not get their screen time when the multiverse is collapsing. She watches another universe disappear. There are only 7 universes left now. The Monitor mentions how he lost his family and his world too. Then Brandon Routh Superman portals in. He's upset. I guess he couldn't help the world that just disappeared. Lois tells him to take a minute, but he wants to get back out there immediately and help as many people as he possibly can because he's a hero, dammit, and that's what heroes do. Meanwhile, Supergirl, who just loves to throw the H-word around every chance she gets, has just been chilling on the ship this whole episode, doing nothing. Cut to Team Flash, where Earth-90 Flash wants to get back on the treadmill because that's the only way to, slow the antimatter wave that is consuming the multiverse and killing countless people by the second, but Barry is like, no, don't do that. Because even after all this time, Barry is still a complete idiot and the worst superhero ever because he's constantly putting his own personal feelings ahead of the well-being of everyone and everything else. All of existence is disappearing even as we speak? I couldn't care less. You look like my father, therefore you are more important. Shit like this is why I stopped watching The Flash. Barry is just infuriating. Thankfully, an actual good character shows up to inject a little bit of desperately needed intelligence and common sense into this situation when Black Lightning walks in. His Earth was just wiped out, but Pariah saved him and brought him here because he can help. Yes, Black Lightning, please, save us from Barry Allen. That would be extraordinarily helpful. Jefferson is naturally horrified that Pariah saved him instead of his family, but since they have a crisis on their hands, he quickly puts his personal feelings aside and does what a hero does. So in one scene, Jefferson Pierce learned how to do something that Barry Allen has not been able to learn in 6 f***ing seasons. And you know what? If we're losing Oliver, then I have to insist that Black Lightning sticks around. Because if this crossover is going to be in any way tolerable, then we need as many actual good characters as we can get, and we need them now more than ever. So Jefferson contains the energy of the treadmill or something, I'm not exactly sure what he's doing, but it buys them some time for Barry to hopefully pull his head out of his ass. But surprise, surprise, he can't seem to do that, even though the solution to their problem is staring him right in the face. Back on the Wave Rider, Kara is about to screw them all over by using the Book of Destiny in an act that she has been warned by multiple characters could have disastrous consequences, but Kate stops her. And employing basic reason and rationality that is so out of character for Kate it's downright farcical, she tries to convince Kara not to do this thing. But Kara's an idiot. She wants to do it and damn the consequences, even though the consequences would put them in even deeper shit than they're in already. If this scene doesn't make you want to shove so much kryptonite up Kara's ass that you could use her eyeballs as flashlights, I can't help you. The fact that even now, Kara is still completely incapable of seeing the bigger picture would be hysterical if it wasn't so goddamn pathetic. She wants to use the Book of Destiny to bring Universe 38 back. Might not work, might drive her insane to even try, might cause a ripple effect that could destroy them all. So be it. But if she's that dead set on doing this, maybe wait until after you stop the antimatter wave. If you do it now, even in the incredibly unlikely event that you succeed, it won't matter because your universe would just get blinked out of existence all over again. Oh my god, these characters. If Kara was going to do something unbelievably stupid, you'd think it would have happened in the Supergirl episode of this crossover. But as the Arrowverse has shown us time and time and time again, no one does unbelievably stupid like the writers of The Flash. So Kate rightly points out that using the book might destroy her, and Kara is one of the paragons. They kind of need her alive if they're going to have any hope of stopping this catastrophe, so if she gets destroyed by the book, they're all doomed. Kara is still being an idiot, and they almost come to blows over this, but finally, cooler heads prevail and she walks away. Here's a thought. Just putting this out there. If we truly have reached the point where Kate Kane, of all people, is the most rational person in the room, then how about we just let the antimatter wave wipe out the entire multiverse and start over? Because if there is a darkest timeline, I'm pretty sure this is it. Cut back to Team Flash, where they figure out that if they reverse the antimatter wave's directional velocity, that would funnel the wave back into the speed cannon. So basically, they're going to stop the antimatter wave by putting the cannon in reverse. It took them until now to figure out something that fucking simple. Why am I not surprised? Cut to Purgatory, where a mindless, insane Oliver jumps John, Dig, and Mia, but Dig talks to him, and he snaps out of it just like that. Damn, that was easy. Cut back to Ryan Choi at Ivytown, who still wants no part of that whole stopping the multiverse from ceasing to exist thing. Now, since Ray Palmer is such a hero to this guy, and that is what the writers portrayed him as, you would think that Ray would be the right person to talk to him and convince him to nut up and not do nothing while all of existence gets swallowed up by antimatter. But you'd be wrong. It's Iris. Because this is the Flash episode of the crossover, and par for the course with this show, they are absolutely obsessed with inflating Iris's importance and constantly inserting her into situations she has no business being in. So Iris is the one who talks sense into Ryan Choi, and she knew what to say to him because of an earlier scene in which Barry emotionally validated her and assured Iris that her sheer awesomeness would be what convinces Ryan Choi to be a hero. Yeah, that was all Iris. The only reason I'm not vomiting right now is because, well, there's nothing left in there. Then Ray and Elongated Man walk in and inform her that Lois called and Earth 1 is now the only Earth left, so they kind of need to hurry things along. Cut back to Team Flash, where even with the antimatter wave moments away from destroying all of reality, Barry is still refusing to do what needs to be done. They need to repower the treadmill to stop this thing. Earth 90 Flash is prepared to do it, but Barry is still like, no. You look like my dad, so f everything else. Then Barry decides to do it himself, even though he's one of the paragons, so if this doesn't work and he dies, they're all screwed. I should be horrified by this, but I'm numb to it at this point. This is not even the first time Barry has put the fate of the entire multiverse at risk because he thought his own personal fee-fees were more important. For Christ's sake, Barry. So because Barry is the biggest idiot who ever lived, who will never learn anything and will never grow up, Earth 90 Flash has to make the call that Barry refuses to make. He steals Barry's speed, and Cisco vibes him back onto the treadmill. Barry still wants to stop him, even though the antimatter wave is knocking at their fucking door, but Cisco has to remind him that a leader has to make the tough choices. Barry Allen is a leader. Thanks, Cisco. I really needed a good laugh today. So they get the hell out of there, and now that Barry's gone, we finally get a good scene. They play the theme song from the 90s Flash series. Earth 90 Flash flashes back to a clip of him and Tina together, and she says that she has faith in him, and he dies, saving the world from the antimatter wave like a goddamn hero. It's a poignant, heartfelt, powerful moment, and it's awesome. And it's amazing to me that they treated this version of the Flash with so much respect and gave him such a nice send-off, and yet in part 2 they treated Bruce Wayne like something Greg Berlanti wiped off his ass while he was taking a dump. Unbelievable. Cut back to Purgatory. They're ready to bug out of there and get Oliver back to his body, but then Jim Corrigan just strolls right in from out of nowhere. I'm assuming he was introduced on one of the other shows, and says that it's Oliver's destiny to save everyone, and Oliver's like, okay, let's do that then. So Corrigan teleports the others back to the ship, and I guess Oliver's gonna become the Spectre now? Beats me. This all happened so damn fast they didn't have time to explain anything. Back on the ship, Barry tries to comfort Jefferson, who is kind of in shock about everything that happened in the last 20 minutes. Barry talks about his dad, and Jefferson talks about his dad, and he thinks their dads didn't raise no quitters, so they should rage against the dying of the light. It's a cheesy line, but Chris Williams is a good enough actor that he can sell stuff like that and make it work. Astonishingly, Barry even gets the reference, and Jefferson is impressed. Yeah, that won't last very long. But this is another good scene with good acting, and it again demonstrates how Jefferson Pierce is a much better character than so many of these other chumps. He just lost his family and his whole world, but then, rather than wallowing in self-pity like Supercuck, or doing something so unimaginably stupid that it does the Anti-Monitor's job for him like Kara or Barry, he takes a minute to collect himself, then puts his personal feelings aside, again, and gets on with the business of being a hero because the multiverse needs saving, and goddammit, he's gonna do it. Black Lightning is great. We need more heroes like him. Then Barry introduces Jefferson to everybody, and he's like, guys, this is Black Lightning. He's really cool, and we're putting him in charge because he's a way better character than any of us. I apologize, that's only what I wish had happened. Instead of that, we cut to Kate and Kara emotionally validating each other yet again, and we get some more epically cringy dialogue between these two. It took a lot of guts to do what you did, Kate. You have the biggest heart of anyone I've ever met, Kara, and I want you to have this kryptonite, because Bruce lost hope, but I never will. No, Kate, you keep it, because I have the courage that you'll never have to use it. Oh, f*** off. It is so transparent what they're doing here. Now that Oliver's almost done with the Arrowverse, they're trying to recreate that Green Arrow Flash type dynamic with Kate and Kara. But you don't do that by having them gush nonstop about how awesome they both are. That's not an endearing or realistic friendship because normal people don't act like this. When Oliver first met Barry, he didn't even like him. They were romantic rivals for Felicity for a little while. There were times when Oliver was very critical of the job Barry was doing as the Flash, and with good reason. Oliver tried to make Barry a better superhero, It's not his fault that was a lost cause. And Barry tried, in his own twisted way, I guess, to help make Oliver a better person. They had to earn each other's respect over a long period of time. So when Oliver was dying and he said, "Barry, you're my friend," it felt genuine because they'd gone on a journey together. There's no journey with Kate and Kara. They're just like, "You are so awesome, Kara." "Well, you're even awesomer, Kate." "Hey, why don't we just agree that we're both super awesome?" And also, men suck. "Couldn't have said it better myself, bestie." "Hey, remember that time you totally saved Oliver and Barry's asses?" "Sure do. Neither one of them has ever done anything even remotely as awesome as that. Thank you very much." This is what it's gonna be like with Oliver gone. I failed to see how letting the antimatter wave wipe the multiverse out of existence was not a better option. So the heroes all come together, they have all 7 paragons, but now they need Lila, because unlike Pariah, she can travel anywhere she wants. Guys? Cisco can do that too. He has his powers back now, remember? Guys? Hello? Logic? Yeah, there's no logic to be found here. Iris thinks they can do something with the Wave Rider's satellite search grid to find Lila, and then she goes to do this herself instead of, you know, a smart person who would actually know how to do it, or one of the several scientists on board, or Mick Rory, whose ship this is. But no, Iris is going to handle the technical stuff, because the universe in which that makes sense has not been wiped out by the antimatter wave, because the writers hate us. But then Lila teleports in, so at least that's one stupidity they don't have to subject us to. Too little too late, dudes. So Lila can't remember where she was. Barry starts wondering if the anti-monitor wanted her back on the ship, but they realize the truth too late as Lila's eyes start glowing, the anti-monitor starts talking through her, and she completely poons everybody, including Brandon Routh's Superman, who throws a punch at her that misses so badly she wouldn't even have had to move to avoid it. So now all the heroes are down except for Pariah and the Monitor. The Monitor says that the fate of humanity lies in Pariah now. Then him and Lila blast each other, but Lila's blast is more powerful. The Monitor dies, I think, and then his essence flows into Lila's body or something. I'm not really sure what happened there. And then, just like that, the antimatter wave magically returns, even though the antimatter cannon was destroyed, and it swallows up Earth-1. So these heroes are now all that's left. They are the only ones who can save us. The multiverse is So with about 28 seconds before the antimatter wave destroys them too, Pariah uses his Deus Ex Machina powers to teleport the paragons to Vanishing Point, which Sarah explains is a point outside of time and space where the anti-monitor can't follow. Not sure why he couldn't have done that earlier, or what the hell they needed Lila for, but whatever. Then Brandon Routh's Superman just disintegrates, leaving Lex Luthor in his place. Because, as it turns out, Lex read about the Paragons in the Book of Destiny and was like, "Screw you, Superman, I want to be a Paragon, damn it!" So he just scribbled his name over Brandon Routh's Superman's name, and that's all it took. Lex is a Paragon now. And leave it to the Flash writers to save the worst for last. Because not only does this twist make no sense at all, it completely invalidates huge chunks of this crossover and makes every single character stupider for having been a part of it. Please explain something to me, okay? If all it took to make someone a Paragon was to scribble their name in that book, why then did these dumbasses spend most of parts 2 and 3 of this crossover searching the multiverse for the remaining Paragons while the antimatter wave was gobbling up every universe in existence? If time was of the essence, why did they waste so much time on pointless, unnecessary bullshit when literally all they had to do was grab a Sharpie, open up the Book of Destiny, and be like, okay, so we've got Kara and Sarah, that's 2. So now Cisco's a Paragon, and Caitlin, you're a Paragon, and Hank, Mia, and who else have we got? Oh, Mick. Hey, Mick, You want to be a paragon? We've got beer.
You had me at beer.
Excellent. Excellent. Mick, Rory. That's all 7 paragons. Okay, great. We're done. Get ready, multiverse. We're gonna save your ass so hard you might just forgive us for the first 9 episodes of Batwoman. Or maybe not. I suppose the one good thing about this is that it means Lex stealing the Book of Destiny in Part 2 actually did have a point to it after all, but all that really means is that we traded one plot hole for an even bigger one. If that was the trade-off we were in for, then I really wish we could have just kept the one where Lex stealing the book was pointless and led to nothing, because at least that was only a waste of time. This not only created even bigger plot holes than the one we had before, it retroactively made the entire story even worse! Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3 was the first episode of The Flash I've watched in a couple years. And now that I've seen it, I remember why I stopped watching. If there's any kind of silver lining here, it's that since this episode was not handled by the Supergirl or Batwoman creative teams, the gender politics were dialed back to an almost tolerable level. But since this was a Flash episode, it wasn't the SJW crap we had to worry about so much as the characters being the stupidest people to ever walk the Earth, or any Earth in the multiverse for that matter. When both the Flash and Supergirl, 2 of the most powerful members on this godforsaken team of slack-jawed brain donors, are both trying to put the multiverse in even more jeopardy than it's in already, because neither of them can get past their own personal hang-ups long enough to act like fucking adults for once in their miserable lives, and they have the combined emotional intelligence of a burned-out light bulb, that's when you know this crossover is truly beyond saving. How the hell are we supposed to root for them after that? Barry would rather let the entire multiverse disappear into nothingness than let Earth 90 Flash act like the hero he's supposed to be, and all Kara wants is her own universe back and damn the consequences to everyone else. In a weird way, these 2 jackasses are kind of perfect for each other, because they're both horrible, horrible people. So it does not spell good things for the rest of this crossover that we're still stuck with them, while the genuinely good, decent, intelligent, self-sacrificing heroes are dropping like flies. Oliver, Brandon Routh Superman, Earth 90 Flash. Adding Black Lightning helps a little, but God bless him, he's not enough to compensate for all that. I am just getting more and more flabbergasted at what passes for quality television in the Berlantiverse, man. People told me Crisis Part 3 was a lot better. I don't know what they were thinking. It had 1 or 2 good moments. Black Lightning and Earth 90 Flash were treated well, but the story and the characters are just getting dumber and dumber with no end in sight. And there's still 2 more episodes to go. I don't know how much worse it could possibly get at this point, but if parts 1, 2, and 3 were any indication, there are no depths to which they will not sink. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Thankfully not today, because that's all I've got for this video. If you enjoyed it, check out the playlists on the channel and watch the other ones. Like, share, subscribe to help me fend off the YouTube algorithm. Make sure you're still subscribed, because YouTube has been unsubscribing people left, right, and center lately. Ding that bell icon for notifications. Follow me on Twitter using the link in the description so you'll always know when new videos get uploaded. And I'll be back with more very soon. Happy New Year, everybody.